Hello, my name is Cindy Richard. I am the director and co-founder of Suicide Prevention of York. September is Suicide Prevention Month. Through weekly podcasts, we will be discussing with professionals not only how we can help survivors of suicide, but the professionals that help the person through the mental health journey. In addition, how can we prevent suicide from happening in all York County communities? Our podcast series will include professionals in fields of mental health, medical, education, older adults, and first responders. In addition, we will provide 2 podcasts on programs we are offering to school districts throughout York County to help prevent suicide, Avidum and Hope Squad. Today I have with me Gail Sagner. She is a social service coordinator at Presbyterian Senior Living and also the co-founder of Suicide Prevention of York and a good friend. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wow. I've been with seniors in housing for 20 years. Placed there quite by accident, but
yes,
it's turned into a pretty long career. Dealing with them in affordable housing. We have affordable housing apartment complexes for 55 and over adults, and throughout Pennsylvania. And we help with pretty much everything. I'm there to help them deal with settling into a new environment because a lot of them have come from individual single homes that they can't maintain anymore. To applying for and receiving benefits from any county, state, or federal programs that they're eligible for. We set up activities. We assist with them facilitating activities for themselves on the properties. So it's pretty well-rounded part of their lives.
It's nice that they can go to a place like that and still live and still be comfortable coming and going as if they would be in their own home.
Yes, our mission is to be able to allow them to age in place safely and healthy. We've just recently added to our York County properties with a company that does rehab, occupational therapy, and physical therapy right in the building.
That's wonderful.
Yes, yes. So we're innovating some new technology where we're going to have a program called Connected Living, which will be available to them on tablets, computers, iPads, with all kinds of things that they'll be able to reach out to through technology.
And that's really wonderful because I think that's where we lose a lot of our older adults is through the high technology that our communities and our world have turned to, especially since COVID.
Yes.
And I do know that each one of your properties, they have a computer room, they have a workout room, where they can go and they have libraries, they have, your properties are pretty well furnished with the basic needs.
Yes, yes, we're very proud of that. Community rooms where they can visit, game rooms where they can play cards, they can do puzzles. And each libraries, as you said.
Yeah, and each one of the community rooms has a kitchen so they can have family in if they'd like.
Yes, they can reserve the room for private parties and that kind of thing. Yes.
It's really nice. Well, you have had residents or clients die, be affected by, or show signs of suicide ideation. Tell us how you are able to come back to work and help others while obviously grieving or worrying about this person.
It can be difficult, especially if it's a resident that you've gotten to know very well, that have been there for a long time. We've had residents on some of our properties that lived there for 20 years.
Wow.
So it's very difficult when we lose one of them. When it comes to those who are having suicidal ideation and that kind of thing, I talk to you.
We do talk.
Yes, we do. But basically, talking to coworkers and making sure that together we're all verbalizing what we're feeling and it's easier to deal with when you're working with people that are going through the same thing you're going through. But it's really hard to be able to do that and still maintain the association and the assistance for the residents who are also going through it. Because you have to keep your professionalism and not let your emotions show through so much, while allowing them to do the talking. Because that's more important, because I have other outlets. I have friends and I have coworkers and that kind of thing. A lot of times the seniors are very reticent about talking about their feelings and about how they feel about these things. So it's more trying to draw them out and then doing the listening and letting the residents talk and work through it that way.
Yeah, I would think you would have to show that you're human, but also show that professional side, and that's very difficult because, like you said, some of them have been there as long as you have,
Yes.
And they become family almost.
Yes, they do.
And you've seen them through their ups and downs. One of the things that we have seen through COVID also is not being able to see family members. So being that you're their ticket basically to connectivity.
It has been difficult though, because during the period when we had, we never closed our properties to visitors.
Oh, really?
No, because these are individual apartments. They can come and go as they please. They don't have to report. They don't have to sign in or anything like that. So we didn't keep family away.
Okay.
But it was more the choice of the families that did not want to bring anything in to their parent.
Exactly.
Or to the rest of the
We've
community.
all gone through that, yeah.
They would come in to deliver groceries. They would come in if there was a problem. But for the most part, they did a lot of their connection through phone and through Zoom and through chats and that kind of thing that they did with their families.
Just
online,
like we all did.
Just like we all did. Mm-hmm.
And you have nice properties so they can go outside and that you have gazebos, you have places like that. Were they able to do that with their families?
Not for a while.
Okay.
Not for a while. We closed every common area on the properties was closed down. So really the only time they saw each other was if they happened to see each other in the hallways. So it was very difficult. And we did not do any in-person appointments during those times. We did everything by, you tell me when you're going to have the paperwork ready, I'll pick it up. I'll bring it to the office. I'll take care of the application. I'll let you know I'm coming back up to drop the paperwork with instructions on what to do from there. So it was all quite a different world.
I bet. Did you
we
slide
dealt
it
with.
under the door, or did you actually
No,
see
I would let them know when I was coming, and I would leave it at the door so that they could immediately open the door and pick it up,
Okay.
so that nobody would have access to it except them.
What a
I
great-
would wait until they got to the door, and but yeah, it was a very strange time.
So we talk about connectivity being something really, really important in all ages. But in older adults, they tend to back away from that a little bit, or they tend to concentrate more on their health issues, or they tend to concentrate on different other parts of their life, and that sometimes keeps older adults inside.
It does quite a bit, and there were a lot of them that did not make any kind of doctor visits during the 16 months that we were pretty much closed down. So we tried to keep an eye on that and check in with them and say, how's it going? What's going on? Are you having any,
Again, it's technology too.
Yes.
They do telehealth, but older adults sometimes can't do that.
They can't always figure that out.
They can't figure. It's hard for
No.
me to figure out sometimes. So that is difficult. And when you don't have your neighbor to come over to help you do that, you might have
Yes.
someone that could to help you, but it's not available. during that
They
time?
did. They were really good as far as helping each other out.
Mm-hmm.
They would make sure that they had their masks on and that kind of thing, and they didn't go and spend a lot of time and visit, but if there was a problem that somebody
Mm-hmm.
needed help, they would get a neighbor to come in and help do something.
You have two different types of properties, too. You have a high-rise, and then you have an apartment complex, basically.
We
you
have
know,
a courtyard property,
courtyard,
yes,
yeah.
where they have their
And-
own front porches, and so
How-
they are
did
totally
they have
different.
That? Yeah, did they meet on their front porches and talk across the way to each other?
Not obviously not during the cold weather, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they love their porches, and they do a lot of porch visits. Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot in older adults, that that's the way they connected. I mean, with my own mother, that's the way they connected, is they would get out their chairs out in the driveway and yell across the street type of thing,
Yes.
as they had their cocktails or whatever that night. But that's important, because just connecting with another person changes everyone's
It's
mental health.
extremely important because you're talking in most cases about a one-bedroom apartment.
Yes.
And a one-bedroom apartment can get very small very quickly
Oh, yes.
when you can't go in and out and you can't go to the library for a break and get a book or sit and read, and you can't go to the park and you can't go to the mall and go shopping and because you're afraid to. So yeah, that.
And
those
again,
little
that's
things.
difference between the two properties too.
Yes.
As with the porch properties, they can go out and at least sit on the porch, whereas your high rise doesn't have porches, so that makes it more closed in.
We do have a courtyard area in the back of my property,
Yeah.
but it gets used very seldom. And for a
Very
while
interesting.
we had all the furniture was put away because we needed to keep them away from each other for their
Yeah.
own safety and for the safety of the staff
Yeah.
and anybody else that was coming in and out of the building.
So I'm sure a lot of your activities that you do now, that you can do activities and stuff, have to do with connectivity and has to do with people just getting out. And I know not everyone wants to participate in those.
No.
But the people that do really seem to enjoy. I've been involved in some of your
Yes, you have.
connections. And the trainings that you have for a lot of the people there. Any suggestions on how you can help prevent older adult suicides?
Paying attention. You got to pay attention. You have to listen. And you have to encourage them, sometimes a little more than the average person, to talk. Because a lot of them are in the generation where we handle our own problems. You don't talk to strangers about problems in your family or anything else. And we handle them ourselves, and you just go on with your life and deal with it. And we know from the years we've been doing this that talking helps a lot. So we have to get them talking, and we have to get them to open up to the point where they'll be really honest about things that are bothering them and look for signs of depression and find out whether or not, how's the medication going? And when you see changes, find out, have you had a change in your medication? Are you taking a new medication? Have you stopped taking a medication? But it's really just being aware and staying in touch with them and staying open to listening.
Listening is so important at all ages.
I was listening to a program this morning, and they were talking about, there was a gentleman talking about, he feels that the 5 stages of grief need to have a 6th one, and it should be meaning.
Interesting.
And he has a book that he's written on it. But as he pointed out, you have to listen not just with your ears. You have to listen with your heart.
Yes. And I think you also have to listen with your eyes.
Yes. Yes, that was his next.
Was it?
Yes, because he said you have to look for the behaviors. You can see the behaviors, but you have to listen with your ears and your heart And that will lead you to watching, you know, the
Interesting.
behaviors that you can see with your eyes. But they have to know that your heart is there with them. You can't fake it.
No. And, you know, that's one of the things we teach in QPR, question, persuade, and refer, is how do you question someone? But before you question someone and how you can persuade them or refer them someplace, you have to have a relationship with them.
Yes,
and
you
you
do.
have to build that trust. And so, yes, he's right on target when it comes to that. And a lot of times people just don't see each other. They go on, they're so busy in their own lives, they forget to see them. And we've talked about that with our school age kids, but it'd be the same with older adults.
Yes.
If you have that relationship already, make sure you really see them when you're with them. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I've had the fortunate ability with the company to be able to be on one property for, like I said, pretty
Yeah.
much 20 years, and I've been on the other property now 6 years. So my relationships with the residents that have been there for a long time are pretty well set.
Yeah, yeah. And I can remember that when you went to these properties, there were some people there that had already been there for a long time. And, you know, at the first property. And it was amazing, you know, how they were invested in each other, too.
They were. It took a while to break into that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is hard. But so that brings us to another discussion. We have done a podcast on Hope Squad. And Hope Squad is a program that we're introducing to York County in the schools, but they also work with the workforce and veterans and college age. But they don't do anything with older adults. And so you have decided to start an older adult Hope Squad. And we tell us more about it. Tell us more about what people can expect in York County for older adults in Hope Squad.
Well, it's a way to get the seniors themselves involved with each other, but in a way that they really know, because it will involve curriculum that is being developed by the Hope Squad. They will learn signs to look for. They will learn how to talk to people without judgment.
Yeah, that's important.
And they'll be able to come to me or to you for advice if there's a difficult situation. But we're going to be able to provide them with the tools through the curriculum where they will then be able to carry this on in the properties as a resident-led activity and program, because they live there 24/7. I don't live there 24/7. I work there and I'm on staff, and we term ourselves, we visit your home when we come to work.
Oh, okay. How nice. That's a nice way to
Because we basically are. And we will be able to know that we have people trained within the community that will be able to give assistance when we're unable to be there.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. And, you know, as we have seen this in the medical field and in all the different fields, that older adults, like you said, don't really like to talk to maybe you or I, but they'll talk to their neighbor.
Yes.
And one of the things about Hope Squad is that they have Hope Squad members, and whether we have them on each floor or we have so many in the building, because they do go from floor to floor and they have friends on different floors.
Oh, absolutely.
How we set that up, it's peer-to-peer and it's run by them. So it is true. You know, they may feel more comfortable speaking to a neighbor, or maybe they just happen to mention something to a neighbor that they wouldn't have normally mentioned to you. You know, I do know they do come by your office quite often, and they do like talking to you.
Yes.
But, yeah, but this way it's 24/7.
Right.
And like you said, you don't live there, and I think it is really important. And we are trying to stick with the curriculum as close to what the Hope Squad people in Utah have put together. This
Yes.
is not our Hope Squad. It is is hopefully going to be a national Hope Squad program.
Well, hopefully we're going to be the first.
Yes,
so
and
we'll
you are going to be the first.
We're going to see
And
how
so
well
we're
we
going to
can
roll
do
this out as soon as they get done writing the curriculum, because
Yes.
right now they're still writing it. And I think I'm excited about it. So this will be a pilot program for Hope Squad older adults, and we will let the community know as soon as it rolls out.
We've done a lot of firsts together.
We sure have. We sure have. So we have heard about Hope Squad, and we've talked about the wonderful stuff you've done at your properties and helping people with their mental health. Anything you'd like to say to any of the listeners that may be struggling right now and possibly contemplating suicide?
Find somebody you trust and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It all comes down to verbalizing what you're feeling to somebody that you trust, that you can count on, that you know is not going to talk to 6 more people and tell them your business.
Mm-hmm. Is that tough in the affordable housing that you work in? Is that tough?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping that we can break that with Hope Squad.
Yes, because we do. If after you reach a certain age, I guess, you do think, well, I'm just, here until something happens. But I think the name Hope Squad really says something. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that you still have hope to continue your life and to enjoy it and enjoy your family and enjoy your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. And they always make sure we know when there's a great-great-grandchild that's coming.
That's wonderful.
But, just basically, you need to find somebody you trust and you need to talk about what's bothering you. Mm-hmm. It's not there should be no shame in feeling like you need to talk to somebody about a problem because you don't know what to do. And hopefully we can get them to the point where before it becomes so critical that they make an attempt, that we can help them ahead of time and get them on track.
I also want to say that if you go to your doctor and you've talked to your doctor about your mental health and your doctor doesn't feel concerned, or maybe you're feeling a little more concerned than your doctor's feeling, talk to somebody else. Don't stop there.
Yes, because we all know that that's one of the things that your doctor automatically asks you now whenever you go to the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, oh, okay, you're fine.
Yeah.
Because we know from experience that there's not a lot of doctors that are trained in mental health.
And I know older adults are so used to talking to their doctors and taking their doctor's advice.
Whatever the doctor says, yes.
Mm-hmm. And there are quite a few doctors out there, don't get me wrong, that really do work with all ages when it comes to mental health. They're very, very good. I know quite a few doctors that are very passionate about mental health.
We've had touch with a lot of them.
Yeah, and so don't think I'm blasting doctors or nurses, but because they've done a great job. But I think there's always room for everyone to grow in the field, and there are people and doctors that have more education when it comes to mental health than others, depending on your area of expertise.
And I think it's becoming more prevalent that doctors are getting more training
Yeah.
in mental health and the
And
seriousness of
there
it.
are some older adults that just will not talk to anybody because they think, like you said, they can handle it themselves and they
Right.
can work
That's the
through
way
it
they were
themselves.
raised.
And I think that's it. I think that's the older generation.
Yes.
But
Well, I have quite a number that are 90 and above.
wow. And so that group of people tend to, well, I'm already old, so, what's the deal? So,
Right.
or they'll just play it off like, why should I talk to my doctor about it? Because it's only natural. Well, depression is not.
It's not a sign of aging. It
No.
should not be equated with, well, I'm just getting old, so that's the way I'm supposed to feel.
Yeah, there's no reason for depression at any age. We have ways of helping you through it.
Right.
And I do think that we have to remember that about older adults too. It's the stress that goes along with it. They're losing their loved ones. They've been married forever, and they have lost their spouse, so they've lost part of who they are.
And they've had to move from the home they lived in for
Yes.
many years
Yeah.
because they can no longer take care of it themselves. And the family wants them somewhere that they feel they're going to be safer and they're going to have less to do and they'll be able to. But then in a lot of cases, they then isolate themselves.
Yeah. So families have to be involved.
Yes.
Friends need to be involved. The hospital or the doctor's medical field needs to be involved. You and I both know that York County has lost a lot of people to suicide. And at this point today, it's 51, and the majority of them are over the age of 50.
Yes.
So they're all considered older adults. And that's really, really hard to swallow.
Yes, it is very hard to swallow.
Many of them have had relationship issues that have failed, or they've lost their spouse, or they have medical or perceived medical reasons. And so, like we said, those are really important areas, and those are areas that can be,
Triggers.
fixed. Yeah, and we can also help them fix those feelings, and we can help them get past it. They're preventable.
Yes.
And then we have a lot of older adults then that are left as survivors, people who have lost someone to suicide, and children, and
Yes.
so it just keeps going down the line. So we're talking about all ages. But thank you so much today. Any last minute words that you would like to say? Anything last minute before we end this podcast?
Just keep your chin up, keep a smile on your face, think positive, and find somebody to talk to.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you very much. If you or someone you know needs help, please call us at 717-451-6411 or the National Hotline number 1-800-273-8255. You're important, so please reach out to someone you can talk to. For more suicide prevention services, call Suicide Prevention of York at 717-451-6411. Thank you.
Thank you.